on Facebook, Instagram, all those joints. It's me, Kev from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. And yeah, I'm starting a little early today because, got a lot to get off my mind. A lot of stuff on my chest, man. Yeah, hit me in the chest like a slow bullet. That's what it's doing. And I think you all probably pretty much know what I'm talking about. So those that are waiting for me to start at 7:30, they have a few minutes before that. But while I'm waiting, let me go ahead and do this. Get this out the way. This time I remembered, y'all, to put the number on the screen to stay in touch with me through text messages. And that is 330-974-4607. And all you got to do is text MAGA. As of last night, I was caught up with all of the folks that had text MAGA to that number. But since then, I believe some more texts have come through, which is cool with me. That's what I want. In fact, if you're part of the other text, I guess, chain, the one I gave you all in the beginning, do me a favor. Let's use this one. I see the momentum building over here. If you're over there on that other one, let's just go ahead and make that switch, okay? I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. Since we're starting a little early, I can kind of joke and put a fart around. Now, y'all, the country is getting out of control, but we got to stay sane, all right? So now while we're waiting to get started, want to just check in with all of you and say what's happening, see what's on your mind, see where you are checking out the show from. I don't get a chance to mingle with y'all enough. So I said, let me start a few minutes early and see what y'all up to. Somebody said, oh, this is truly my favorite show. Well, thank you so much. Y'all, you know what, man? Y'all be trying to make me get sensitive. I know it. I know it, y'all. Yeah, I got to keep it together. Got to keep it together because I don't want my enemies thinking I'm soft. That's why. Dang on it. Some Democrats might be watching. Okay. Might think I'm a snowflake or something like that. Okay. Yeah. Can't let them see that. But I do appreciate all of the things that you guys say. I read all of your messages. I go back every night and rewatch my shows and read the messages because I get a kick out of it. And sometimes I miss some things and, I have to rewind like I'm watching a comedy show. Like, whoa, did I just miss? I'm going to watch that again. So I love it when you guys make your comments. I read them all. Now, let's see here. Don't forget to hit that like button, okay? Share my videos. Follow me on all of the other platforms. Those that have been giving to the super chat, thank you. But like I mentioned, when YouTube feels funny and they demonetize some of my videos for whatever reason, the super chat money, I don't know where it goes. So the other way you want, if you can, if you want to support my channel, you can do that through my Cash App and my PayPal. This way they can't get their mean old fingers on that. Also, follow me on my podcasts. All of these are converted into podcasts. So if you like listening to podcasts while you're driving, you can also do that as well. And then finally, Rumble in the Jungle and my alternative channel, Stop and Think About It. So if you want, please subscribe over there just in case they try to unexist me. Okay. So somebody said I left in the 70s. Okay. From where? Man, y'all remember the 70s? All right. How many of y'all? Well, now I want to. Well, you know what? It don't matter. How many of y'all remember the 70s? Like personally remember it? I'm not talking about, like, oh yeah, my mama and them used to tell me about the 70s. I'm talking about I was there, man. I lived it. Like that type 70s where you had turtlenecks, real ones, real turtlenecks, about that thick, little afros and stuff. That's right. I'm talking about real corduroy jeans, the ones that almost set fire every time you walk, all day long, and bailed at the bottom. Real tuck tailors. I'm talking those, or even pro kids. Man, but them Chuck Taylors back then, you might as well be walking on the ground. Not a bit of comfort or nothing. I don't see how Dr. J and them dudes didn't break their ankles. Unbelievable. But those were good days, man. Somebody said buddies. Yeah, we used to call them Okies. When your tennis shoes didn't have a name, it just had tennis shoe on it. Wow. Go to school on that first day. They'd be like, so I got some Converses. Hey, Kev, what you got? Tennis shoes? Kev got on Okies. Yeah, but those were good days. Those were good days. And those were the days where kids didn't stay home because of snow. In Youngstown, it had to be like 12 inches of snow before they even consider it. And then cold? What is that? Boy, you better put some socks on those hands and then throw some mittens over those socks. Get you that big hat that flips up and got the ball on the back and send your raggedy tail off to the bus stop. No, I ain't taking you. I'm not taking you. You gonna walk to that bus stop. You understand that? It ain't that far away. It's only 2 miles. Now shut up and get to the bus stop. Better not be late. Those were good days. You know you was really listening to a record when you throw it on and you hear the yeah, loved it. Good times, man. Woo-wee. And we can watch all kind of TV shows that was funny and we didn't have to worry about being sensitive. And then when the 80s came, it was still great. Love those 80s too. We had people that they would consider nowadays transgenders, but we didn't even recognize that. We didn't care. We didn't question Boy George. Talking about some come a chameleon. We didn't question that. It didn't become a problem until they made it a problem, okay? They would have never had a problem. Make me mad. Messed it all up for everybody. I wish we could go back. Where's Stevie? I wish those days would come back once more. That's what I want. Now, let me get serious. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Is it 7:30 yet? We got 4 minutes. Okay, so that's good. Somebody said MTV. Oh, yeah, and the best of Saturday Night Live. That's when Saturday Night Live was funny as heck. You remember Eddie Murphy played the Fifth Beatle? And you sitting there. We're sitting here with Clarence, whatever his name was. And he claims he's the fifth Beatle. So, Clarence, are you really the fifth Beatle? Yes, I am, man. And I suggest you take that sarcasm out your voice when you're talking to me, man. Loved it. It was great. Yeah, those were good times. Dukes of Hazzard. Didn't have to worry about being called a white nationalist. Boss Hogg. Dang on, what was Roscoe Pico Train? And Flash. And Daisy with those dukes. Daisy running around with those dukes, man. There was no, look at that. That's exploitation of women. And you know what? No. Every girl wanted to go out and get those Daisy Dukes. So look at the girl with the Daisy Dukes. Nowadays, try that. Daisy set a trend, man. And nobody was calling her anything except everybody wanted to be like Daisy. And every guy wanted Daisy. But now you can't do that. Probably got some ugly feminists. You can't do that. That's exploitation of women. Unreal. Wish I could go back, y'all. All right, now let me get serious. It's about that time. Because I'm about to go buck wild. See, y'all got me going. Did it again? Starsky and Hutch, man. Starsky and Hutch. Loved it. With Huggy Bear. Jeffersons. Yeah. Dang on George walking around with that open stadium. That Bozo the Clown on the sides. And Tom Willis with the dance. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good times. Temporary layoffs. Good times. Yeah. Jimmy Walker. And don't forget, what was the other one I loved? Let's see, we had Good Times. Different Strokes. What you talking about, Willis? Loved it. Loved it. Dang on Charlie's Angels. And it wasn't exploitation of women. These weren't overpowered women that had to make men look weak and sorry. We liked them because they didn't need to step all over men just to seem like, oh, they got a strong, independent woman. Those were good days when guys could respect female heroes and stuff like that. Nobody was looking at it through sexism and all of that stuff. But now here we are. Here we are. They done ruined everything, y'all. I will never recover from the Star Wars trilogy. I mean, just ruined Star Wars for me. Ruined it for me, man. Now, real quick, before we get started, 330-974-4607, text MAGA. And then I will lock you in. Now, with that being said, I'm about to put the lockdown on these dang on Democrats because they're back at it again. Yeah. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. There's some kings in the building. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. So, yeah. had to put on my green today because that's how I feel. Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me if I was angry. So, guys, if you are a Trump supporter or even a conservative, and I'm gonna go ahead and go one step lower, a human with common sense to recognize corruption when you see it, and an obvious attempt to sabotage an election, to destroy a candidate before he whoops your tail, then you'll probably recognize what the Democrats are doing and how they are using their power, their position in government to do just that. It is that obvious. And tonight, we're going to go over some of that and really analyze it and break it down. I like doing that. I like getting out my scalpel and dissecting all of this mess to expose what's really going on. Seeing inside of these folks' heads, psychoanalyzing them and exposing their true motives, because see, they like to lie. They like to get out there and try to deceive us and make us think that this is a legitimate investigation, and Trump really broke these laws and all of that stuff. They like to do that. And then when you watch the media or any people that are on TV comment about it, you get some that says this is obviously bogus. But what really kills me is when you get some that will talk about it as if these are legitimate investigations. I mean, they're committing serious intellectual capacity to it. All right, this right here truly is going to be a challenge for Donald Trump, because this right here, this indictment carries a heavier. And then I'm going, it's not an indictment. This is a witch hunt. This is not a legitimate case, and I'm sick of y'all trying to treat it like that. I'm sick of everybody walking around pretending that this is really about justice, about something they feel Donald Trump did. I mean, it would be better if we all just say, you know what, we all know what the deal is. You guys need to stop this, man. You're willing to do whatever. Don't try to pee down my back and tell me it's rainwater when it comes down to 4 indictments. 4 indictments. And you want me to respect the DOJ, these prosecutors. You want me to suspend the obvious attempt. Now, remember, the 4 indictments is on top of the years and years of all the other stuff. So now, after Russia collusion, after Ukraine, after all of this, the J6 committee, after all of that, now here comes 4 indictments. All the other stuff was revealed that you guys manipulated, added evidence, omitted evidence, all of that stuff. You guys been doing this for like 6 years straight. Now we get to 4 indictments, and I'm supposed to take those seriously. Supposed to take them seriously. It's obvious you guys are the boys and girls that cried wolf. Every time something's on fire, you come running. Oh, I'm just kidding. Psych, psych on the motorbike. I was just burning toast. About 3 or 4 or more of those, let them burn, baby. Burn, baby, burn. That's how I feel about these indictments. And I think there's half of our country that feels exactly that way too. Some are kind of discouraged. Some are pissed off. I even heard one commentator talking about, man, they're trying to push us towards civil war. It's ridiculous how bold and brazen these people are in regards to their attempt to get Donald Trump. And yet they come out there to the mic and try to have a straight face, look serious, like this is legit. So now I'm gonna have to embarrass every single one of these fools tonight on my show. Okay, that's why I got my green on, because I'm going hunting, mate. That's what I'm doing. I'm hunting for these dumpster juice Democrats that's at it again. That's what I'm doing. So let's get busy. Starting off with who? Creepy. March 22.
60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people.
Hold on. Pump the brakes. Pump those brakes. Did he just say liberal world order? Who wants that? Who is we? What gives you the right to establish a liberal world order? That's what I want to know, Joe. I mean, your definition of liberal, I'm sure more than half of the world don't embrace it. That's why what we're about to see right after this clip, it's going to be a problem. See, so this guy's talking about we had like we have the moral high ground. Now, at this point, it's so sad to say this, but if I wasn't an American right now, if I did not know what America is about and the true hearts of good American citizens, I would be looking at this country as an imperialistic. I would be looking at the country right now like a lot of these liberals running around look at it like that. I mean, it's a fascist, racist country because they're making it look like that right now. These last several years, if I'm watching America from the outside in and I hear them talking about globalism, liberalism all over the place, I see them trying to spread their trans whatever a doctrine in other countries. I see them taking out all kind of leaders and setting up puppets. I see them going after their own citizens. I would be sitting over in another country going, man, they're very imperialistic. America right now is tripping. I don't know if I want to be over there. Okay. They might go ahead and take control of my kid and talking about some, unless you respect his pronouns, we're removing them from your home because you're a dangerous parent. And that is why right about now, a lot of the countries in South Africa, Asia, and Russia, of course, are starting to push away from Western ideology. Because I don't even want that crap. I want to be left alone. I don't want them shoving liberalism down our throats because we know what that means to them. It doesn't just mean free to live, free to love, do whatever you want. No, that means Marxism. That means we're going to push our agenda straight down your throat. And guess what else it means? It means that with liberalism, guess what else is riding in on that? Just in case you Christians didn't know. See,
people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there.
Oh, what? So tagging along in that wagon of liberalism is also a new world order. Joe can't keep that mess silent. That's right. So, yeah, my question is like, isn't that supposed to be scary? Isn't that supposed to be something Christians should have their head on the swivel for? What catalyst is bringing in the New World Order? That should be the first question as a Christian. You should be looking at all of these leaders and listening closely to what they say, what they support, what they embrace, what direction they're trying to push the country in. So Trump goes over there to Davos and he comes out and he puts all of them on blast and says, these folks are globalists. They wanted to bring us all into a one world government, not doing it. We're staying completely sovereign. And then up jumped the boogie. Some mysterious something just floated down out of the sky right after George of the Jungle said, Trump is an anomaly that will disappear in 2020. That guy. But then when Joe gets installed, he drags his nasty, corrupt, stinking butt over there and he's rubbing elbows with all these people. This talking about chipping everybody. This over there talking about we, the 1%, we will be able to control the minds of all of the rest of the people. And Joe Biden's either sitting up in there nodding or agreeing. One of the two or both. I'm nodding and agreeing at the same time. See, instead of saying you will not be doing that to my citizens, you will not be requiring some dang on vaccine passes to be traveling. No. These folks right here are laying down all the groundwork for the end time. These folks right here are laying down the infrastructure for the mark of the beast, for monitoring us, for controlling our money, for making sure they control our lives. These folks are doing it. So they are laying down the groundwork for the end time, whether they know it or not. But what burns me up is when Christians don't see it. When they sit back and listen to folks like this say, one world order, we're bringing a new world order. Nothing goes off in your head. A light bulb doesn't pop off in your head. Instead, they got a lot of our citizens to the point where they don't even recognize that. Not just citizens, but more so Christians, because not everybody believes that there's going to be a one world government at some point. But if you're a Christian, you know it's coming. You should have your head on a swivel. And then when you see it coming, you don't say, let's vote for it. Let me jump on board so we can accelerate it. You say, you know what, I'm going to resist this mess until God says, all right, now you guys step aside. It's my turn. I'm not going to jump on board because I've been manipulated by accusations of racism and white nationalism. Unreal. So now this guy's talking about no world order.
We've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. There's going to be a new world order out there.
And this fool can barely even say, no, we're going to need it because of... Joe, what? Ice cream. I'm sorry. I mean, new world order. This bum. He is a complete open vessel for these globalists to speak right through him and the devil. Okay? Don't leave out Diablos. Yeah. So here that guy is talking about, no, we're going to bring in a new world. Now, if that doesn't make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, I don't know what will. But guess what, y'all? We got people outside of our country that are smarter than half of the people in our country. So let's see how folks from other countries are reacting to America's big old push to start this new world order and all this liberalism being spread.
We are with President Putin, and we want to say to President Putin, it is not us South Africans who refused you from...
Wait a minute, y'all. Do you see this mess right here? These are black folks in other countries. Yeah, they're talking, we are with President Putin. Why is that? This is crazy. If I would have saw this about maybe 4 years ago, I'd have been like, these people right here are commies. And you know what? These folks are. But after what I've been seeing America do and how they've been going over to Africa and trying to push this crap on these African countries, trying to bully them with their money, talking about if you don't go ahead and put gender neutrality and all that stuff first and foremost in your country, then we're not going to give you the money. They're pulling a Joe Biden. Son of a gun, fired that prosecutor. And I've been watching for a while. All of these people from Africa say, we don't want y'all liberalism. We don't want y'all talking about our kids need to be transgender. We don't want y'all sticking the gay flag over here. We don't want that. But you know what? Liberalism. See, these Democrats and other globalists, westernized globalists, think that, man, you know what? They just don't know what's best for them. We'll keep pounding them and manipulating them and bullying them and threatening them to withhold money until they finally tap out. Now, all of a sudden, what are you getting? A big fat pushback. And guess what we're doing? Because we got stupid leaders. We're pushing all of these countries right into the arms of China and of Vladimir Putin. You guys, these Democrats, are making Putin look like he's the hero or the victim. This is crazy. These folks over there going, at least they ain't pushing transgender studies on us. You know, at least they're not over here talking about, you know what, we need to get rid of fossil fuels and you all got to go out and get a electric stove and you guys got to turn in your man vehicles. Oh, don't forget, we're going to shove shots all in your neck and wherever else. Yeah, at least Putin's not doing that. And it's sad when Putin looks like a better option than the U.S. because of our leadership. Now I got to sit here and listen to, and this ain't the only country. I mean, there's multiple countries in Africa right now that are starting to turn away from the U.S. and Western ideology and kind of link up with China and Vladimir and India, all because our dumb leaders, for whatever reason, have prioritized creating a one world government, and these countries don't want that.
Coming into the country, it is Ramaphosa, the coward Ramaphosa, who could not guarantee that we will not arrest Putin. Wow. We are Putin.
That's a lot of brothers. Do you see this stadium filled with nothing but the brothers, the jungle. De La Soul, from the soul, black medallion, no gold. Hanging out with Poss, hanging out with Mace, buddy, all in my face. That's a lot of black folks right there. And they're not saying Putin is a white nationalist, he's a racist and an imperialist. Instead, they're going, we are with Putin. That's crazy. Now, what happens if Africa gets pushed into the arms of Putin, of China, our precious Democrats who's always talking about racism and slavery and the indigenous folks in this, are they going to start just what? Attacking them, demonizing them? Of course, because you got to understand, they don't love anybody but themselves. They don't care about these African countries. They don't care about some of these countries that they claim are their victims. And you know what? It's all about spreading our message to these countries. The arrogance of that makes me sick. But what would happen is they would find themselves being demonized, just like many of the other countries. They don't care if these people are black. They would throw anybody under the bus if they don't line up with their ideology. And it is purely coming out of the Democrat Party for the most part. There's other issues that comes out of our Republicans that I don't like either. But when it comes down to fundamental values, fundamental cultural issues, all of that stuff, that's coming out of the Democrat Party. Those are the things that will make people say, I don't want that. You're trying to shove that mess down my throat. And I'm saying, soon as it hit my palate, I regurgitate. Like that big stick that they used to throw down your throat. Stick your tongue out there. What'd you just do? He almost killed me. Yeah. So that's what's happening. They're spreading this crap. And it's one thing to come over and talk about business and trade and stuff. But when you come over there talking about, all right, now we're going to dedicate $200 million so that you guys can have a school that is inclusive when it comes down to the kids that might feel something on the inside and all of the other stupid crap that countries don't want. Not to mention, let's also go ahead and unite these countries under a one world government. Who controls that? I mean, when you lose your sovereignty and turn it over to a small group of folks over in Davos or wherever, you have no more say. And that's probably why they're giving Putin such a hard time over there in Ukraine, because they're like, this dude's standing in our way. Putin's not perfect. Russia got their dirt, but let's leave that dude alone. He don't want to be a part of the globalist agenda, and neither do they.
And Putin is us, and we will never support imperialism against President Putin.
Now, see, I'm sad to have to hear this, man. There was a time when all of these folks would be praising the United States. They would be talking about our freedom. They would be talking about how great the United States is, how much they supported the United States. And you know what? If we can be like the United States, if we can get to the United States. Now I got to turn on the YouTubes and see African countries ripping the United States and other Western countries because we've lost our minds. And then they offered all black people to come back to that country. If you're black, you can come back to that country and get citizenship. We're all the angry black folks over here in our country. We're all our black liberals who've been running around talking about police brutality and white. Where's big for nothing LeBron James? Where is Colin Kaepernick with that big behind afro looking like a bush in a bunny? Why isn't he jumping his butt on the first plane and going back over there? They're giving out the call. Come back to the motherland. But nobody wants to go. See, black liberals talk a whole bunch of crap because they've been victimized by Democrats and their liberalism to embrace all of the stupidity, thinking the world is racist and this and this and that. But now you got some real black folks over there going, come on home. And they're not going? No. Are they going to call these people white nationalists? It's unreal.
America is threatening us with African Growth and Opportunity Act that if we don't arrest Putin, they are going to take away AGOA. They can take away AGOA and leave us with our sovereignty and leave us with our foreign policy. We must have the capacity to take a decision of our own.
Hurts to have to hear it, but I can't disagree with the man. He said, America's trying to bully us with the purse, push their ideology over there. And not to mention this little, I guess, meeting they're having, Putin's coming, and America's like, you better arrest him. You better arrest him if you get there. This man is like, we ain't doing that. Y'all don't control this country. Okay, this country over here wants to remain free and do whatever it wants. So keep your money. Now, all we're doing by being stupid is creating another group of enemies. In fact, we're pushing all of our potential allies or even current allies straight into the arms of Putin and China. And China's sitting there, that's right. Keep trying to push your transgender ideology over there. Because China comes over there and say, in China, we will not have our kids sissified. And those Africans are going, I agree. We don't want our kids sissified either. That's how they're building relationships. In China, we're not going to get rid of fossil fuels. I agree. We need fossil fuels. That's why all of them are starting to go right over into the arms of our enemies because of our dumb leaders.
We call on the People's Republic of China, India, and Brazil not to BRICS summit solidarity with President Putin. They must say, you touch one of us, you touch all of us.
Wow. So there you have it. That man just said, we're not arresting Putin. And we've also have a relationship with India, China, Russia. And if y'all come over here and touch us, you're touching all of us. Now, what does that mean? That means they done formed an alliance. That means that no longer are they going to be individuals and allow themselves to be bullied by big fat America right about now. Instead, what they've done is said, well, you know what? How about we all gang up? Make it real tough for America to go over and bully them, or France, or any of the other Western countries that just seem to not get it. Are we trying to just destroy our sovereignty and our power and influence on the world stage? Of course. By installing a puppet into the office that is extremely weak and is extremely compromised by most of these countries, because him and his crackhead son was corrupt, took a whole bunch of money. Now China is just skipping all over the globe, sweeping up all kind of property, all kind of business deals, military growing, all of that. Russia's like, well, I like that right there. They're not blowing up our pipelines. They're not trying to park on our border, talking about some NATO, all of that mess. They're not doing that. How about we go ahead and make it happen? So dumb, y'all. When Trump said our leaders are dumb, I'm like, hey, to the man. Speaking in which, y'all, let's just see how dumb they are, but not just dumb, y'all. Evil.
Here's a question for you. Just how far are the radical left and inside the Beltway bandits willing to go to stop him? They all know they hate him for winning the fight to protect life, for exposing their deep state.
Yeah. Trump done stumbled across a big nest of demons. That's what he did. He messed around and stepped on a hornet's nest of demons. And they were not ready for it, man. That's why they're stinging him. That's why they keep attacking him. Yeah, these aren't your regular just hornets and stuff. These are those Japanese giant hornets that trace you for like forever. You stumble across one of their nests and you could take off and be 3 miles away and they're still on you. That's what the Democrats are doing to Trump. I mean, how many years have it been? 6? You know, he stumbled across that, mustered up that big old nest of evil folks, and they've been chasing him for 6 straight years. The murder hornets, that's what they call it. And so, yeah, they are willing to go to whatever they have to go to try to stop Trump, because they know he's about to go and set fire to that big fat hornet's nest. That's what he's about to do. So they are pulling out all the stops, obviously, too. So the deep state, guess what? He even threw a monkey wrench when it come down to the Democrats' love for abortion. They all love it. They don't tolerate it. They love it. And see, this is what I mean. It reveals how perverse and evil they are. Most Americans, when it comes down to differences on moral issues and stuff like that, people will tolerate it because it's not shoved down their throat. They might be indifferent to it. It's like, man, it doesn't apply to me. I'm walking around minding my own business. Okay, I'm sure people are out there getting abortions. I mean, that's fine. But then when you get a group of politicians and people who not only just tolerate it or just do it quietly, or they're kind of ashamed of it, like, man, I can't believe I got abortion. But then they start celebrating. Then they start trying to shove it down everybody's throat and then demonizing folks to say, I disagree with it. And then put the cherry right on top to say how many months. Now, this is what perversity does. That's why I say the Democrat Party and these liberals and globalists, I'm talking about straight hardcore leftists. The reason I say that they're ushering in the last days is because of their increase in perversity. It appears that they're turned over to a reprobate mind. They don't have your normal amount of shenanigans. Their shenanigans have gone to a whole nother level. Folks might be kind of indifferent to 3 months, 4 months of abortion or whatever. Then you see these folks coming out talking about 9 months. Now I'm going, that's special evil. You got a heavy dose. You done overdosed on evil. You know, folks used to tolerate folks walking around talking about, I'm a transvestite or I'm just a cross-dresser. Now all of a sudden, what? Yeah, no, I'm not, I'm a woman. No, you're a man dressed like a woman. I remember back in the day, you were just like kind of a cross-dresser. No. See, you know what that is? You're transphobic. What is that? I didn't even know that was a such thing. You know why? Because now you get that. And even with that, folks might say, hey, you know what? Okay, hey, do you? But then you turn on the TV and where are they? In women's bathrooms. You turn on the TV and what are they? Running down the track field with a ponytail on, beating up all the women. You click on the TV, you see a guy in the middle of the ring punching out a girl. And you're going to see perversity, going too far. That's when you know that Satan has unleashed a special amount of evil onto the planet. But wait. You thought I was done with just that? You know, okay, women, if y'all want to tolerate that, y'all want to let these dudes get in there and beat y'all up, that's on y'all. Wait a minute. Now they're going into schools? There it is. That right there lets you know that demon done jumped on these folks and is saying, that's not far enough. That's not evil enough. That's not perverse enough. Hey, you know what would be a great idea? Let's go from adults to kids. No pushback by the Democrat Party. In fact, we'll demonize you for saying that's crazy. So that lets you know that these folks are going to play a huge part in ushering the last days because they tolerate unthinkable demonic ideas and so on and so forth. Unthinkable stuff that years ago, you know, people doing stuff in their basement in their private life. They're like, all right, I feel pretty embarrassed. It's just kind of nasty, but nobody knows about it. These folks are out there in the open. If you would have told me 10 years ago that you would have been watching somebody in a dang on classroom talking about chase on the bus goes round, round. I would have been like, you silly man. Do you realize Americans would lose their mind if they saw that dude up in the classroom talking about, so what is this? Is that a transgender? On the bus going round, in the classroom? And then when I speak out about that, we're going to have to power you down on the internet. Yeah, you're transphobic. Leave the kids alone. It's health care for the kids. Unreal. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent.
For draining their precious swamp. And they already know he'll crush Biden.
Yeah.
So like
a jelly bean.
Wolves, they attack. So let's impeach him. Yeah. Let's get tainted radical left prosecutors to charge him. Let's conspire with Hillary and the FBI with fake stories about him. All to distract from Biden's incompetence, weakness.
Look at that. There's Creepy and his crackhead. Creepy and the crackhead right there. So y'all see that little clip montage of Biden barely able to walk up the steps. He can't put his jacket on. The glasses are sitting on his face like this. Jill's walking next to him, feeling completely and turned off and embarrassed. You know, that guy. And you wonder why. We are with Vladimir Putin. You wonder why. You wonder why China is running all over us right about now. Because that guy right there screams out, I'm weak. I didn't get here on my own. Somebody straight up installed me. That's what that screams out.
And money grabbing corruption. But here's the thing. He'll never blink.
Oh, shit.
That's called having the courage of your convictions. And it's why he's our president.
Darn right.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
100% proven that the Biden crime family received more than $20 million from foreign countries while Crooked Joe was vice president.
Crooked Joe.
And probably a lot more than that. That's just the money they found. Not one of Joe Biden's defenders has even attempted to explain what Joe and his family did, including his children and his grandchildren. What were they doing getting all of this money?
Now, that's a good question. See, this is the level of obvious corruption and evil that's going on. They're not even trying to tell you how Joe got the money. They're just saying he did nothing wrong. Well, then prove it by telling me how do you get that money? That's what I want to know. You know how they normally catch drug dealers? Because the drug dealers usually don't have the discipline to remain humble and live modest. Especially back in the day, in the 80s, when crack came into the inner city and folks started dealing drugs. First thing they went out and bought a Suzuki Sidekick. Went out and bought something, threw some big behind wheels on it, threw a sound system in the back, so they're doing a concert everywhere they go as they're driving. And then at some point, they catch the eye of the police or something like that. And then they start going, hey man, how'd you get that? Oh man, I just be hustling. Well, let's see how much money you would have had to hustle to get this, and please show me the receipts. I need to know how it matched up. You can't just tell me I just got a lot of money. From where? How'd you get the money? What do you do? See, I don't want to hear nothing. I just cut grass for a living, man. I just be. No, if you're living above your means, but you don't have a source, then that's a problem. So how about you answer the question? You could put it all to bed. If you say that money came because we supplied this type of service and this and this and that. And when you see Democrats come out and try to defend Creepy and the crackhead, they don't even go there. They just say these accusations are baseless. There's no proof linking them to that. Well, then please tell me, what job besides being a dang on politician does Joe Biden have? What business? I mean, you can shut us all up if you just show us Creepy and the Crackhead Enterprises. We produce crack. We produce creepiness. Something. We produce creepy, sleepy, sleazy, slimy, sloppy Joes. There we go. Something that I can say, here's the product, there's where the money is coming from. But nope, they just buy right past that. Unbelievable. And guess who else passes it up? The news. They don't even ask. Unbelievable.
I believe we have a compromised president.
And how?
He was bribed and now he's being blackmailed. He's a Manchurian candidate. That's why Crooked Joe is letting other countries walk all over the United States. He's afraid to bring it up. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's petrified of China because they know exactly how much money has been given to him.
$1.5 billion. That's why that balloon was allowed to float over our country for about 6 days. $1.5 billion.
And they know exactly where it is. China has paid him a fortune. Just think of what China has gotten for all that money. Biden shut down my administration's initiative targeting Chinese spies in the United States.
Just like he opened up access to the border, removed all of the stuff that gave us a secure border, made Mexico have to step up, all of that stuff. They went in and unraveled that. It's like these Democrats want complete chaos. They want us to be sorry. They want to weaken our country in every area and category. So let me get this straight. Trump comes in, becomes tough on border. They come in, remove all of that stuff. Border now is blew out. Trump comes in, tough on China. They come in, China's running wild because they remove everything that was a pain in the butt to China, including Trump. You think Xi wanted that? You think Xi wanted some more China? Trump, rather. Nah, not one world leader wanted a piece of him. Y'all saw what happened to Baghdadi. Died like a dog, running through that cave with those flip-flops on in that robe with his kids, screaming. That guy. How about Solomon Grundy, who got blown up? That spy. What did Iran do? Oh, we're going to retaliate. Okay, now, go ahead if you want to. Kill one American and see what happens. Remember that? They didn't do none of that. Remember Kim Jong-un? Talking reckless, little rocket man? Then little rocket man decided, let's be friends. Come on over, shake my hand. Everybody calmed the heck down under Trump. In spite of them trying to push us into war with Russia, Iran, and all of that. But now, everybody's having their way with us.
Shut it down cold. He let China off the hook for COVID. He shut down the investigation into the origins of the China virus. He did nothing as China began setting up bases in Cuba, taking over South America, and threatening Taiwan.
So you telling me that China's parked down there in Cuba? Huh? That's what you're telling me? So what we're trying to do over there in Ukraine with NATO and set up right there at Russia's border, China's doing it while we're over there playing around in Ukraine, right up under our nose. So let me get this straight. Our dumb leaders are letting China, they shouldn't even be nowhere close to this hemisphere. I mean, this whole continent should be off limits to China. Nah, man, y'all shouldn't even be able to get halfway here over the ocean. We're intercepting you. We see you coming in the relative direction. Turn that mess around and go back where you came from. You understand that? Don't make us start putting these missiles up your butts. Get y'all butts right back over there. But nope, with Joe, they're all down there having a good time in Cuba or wherever they're at. Thanks a lot, Joe.
They even took over the Panama Canal. We spent a fortune building it. Jimmy Carter's administration sold it for $1. We lost 36,000 people building the Panama Canal, and now China controls it. Russia and
just like we built this great nation, just like all of the men and women who died over in Normandy, died over in Europe fighting for this mess, all the lives lost, all of the folks who sacrificed their life during the Civil War against Democrats, all of this stuff to become the most powerful country on the planet, all being unraveled right before our eyes by these raggedy behind Democrats and globalists. Just like that. All of the hundreds of years getting to the top, and these folks are tearing it down in record-breaking time. Unreal.
China are even doing military exercises near the Aleutian Islands, right off the coast of Alaska. And Biden sits back on his hands. He does nothing. This never would have happened if I was president.
Absolutely. Darn right. That's why we got to get him back. He sits on his hands doing nothing, like always, spinning around. Hey, this chair spins. That's great. Where's Hunter and his cocaine? Okay, what? China's where? Tell Chi I said hi. Unbelievable, this guy, man.
They even thought about it. I would have shut it down instantly. There's no way they would have done any of this kind of thing, including Russia invading Ukraine would have never happened. And China wouldn't even be thinking about Taiwan right now. Crooked Joe's corruption is a glaring threat to national security.
And
between the millions and millions of dollars he's gotten from China and the millions of dollars from Ukraine, Joe Biden's greed and criminality is going to get us into World War III. We're going to be in World War III with this guy.
Yeah, or close to it. I mean, do you understand? Day one, Trump got to come in, hit the road, run. First thing first, he got to come in, isolate and shut down the deep state immediately. That's day one. Got to come in because we already saw soon before he was even inaugurated, they were already scheming. When they were moving stuff into the White House, those folks were already coming up with their next strategy and plan. But they can't do it if they're shut down. Executive order, day one, FBI will no longer be able to operate on American soil. Unravel it, go get their fancy gadgets, put them in a fat warehouse somewhere. Go get all their surveillance and stuff, get it and shut it down, man. That's day one. We need to do that with all of those three-letter agencies that have been undermining our government all this time. Do that first, because if you don't do that, they'll figure out a way to sabotage you, all right? But then secondly, you got to come in and try to negotiate folks back into some type of civility on the globe. Now, I guarantee you Putin would love for Trump to get put in because he's like, yo, I mean, this guy don't want no imperialism over here. He's like, yo, man, y'all do y'all. I'm going to do us. Y'all don't be unfair to us and I won't be unfair to y'all. Most of those leaders respected Trump because they sense that he was not a globalist. He's not an imperialist. He didn't want to come over there and replace their regime and all of that. Only time you got your butt whooped is when you start messing with Americans. That's it. Other than that, it was about trade and it was about paying your fair share and being respectful to the country. If you did that, you did well. But not our Democrats. They want to spread the gospel of liberalism.
Grossly incompetent man. Now the corrupt Biden DOJ is continuing the cover-up with the appointment of a special counsel to block further investigation.
Oh, my.
It's the very same U.S. attorney who cut Hunter Biden the scandalous plea deal that was such a scam it didn't survive the barest scrutiny in court. It was done under what's called blue slip. It wasn't picked And that position by President Trump, it was picked by the Democrat senators in the state. It's called a blue slip. You'll check it out. But they picked him. I didn't pick him. This is corruption like our country has never seen before.
Yep. Trump, you're right. And this is the last shot right here. Like our country has never seen before. It's beyond their ability to disguise it. That is how corrupt. The corruption have leaked out of their pores. You know, I mean, a sociopath or somebody evil like that could only suppress it so long. If you study people long enough, what they are will eventually leak out. Their eyes will tell on them. Their feet will tell on them as their feet take them in a direction. You're like, why are you going over there? Why you keep going in there? See, like the Democrats, you know, notice they always was hanging around folks that you find out later they were busted doing nasty stuff. Why were their feet leading them towards Jeffrey Epstein all the time? What made them jump on that plane like Bill Clinton and Fowler? Why did Jeffrey Epstein feel close enough with Bill Clinton to have a full-blown painting made of him in a dress? That's my question. Why is it that you have tons of photos with all of them snuggled up with Weinstein and Epstein and all of them? Why is it that they always seem to end up in a company of perverted people, corrupt people, all of that? Because it was leaking out. Their nature was taking them straight towards that. But then their mouth was lying about, we're good people, looking out for blacks and stuff.
That is why as soon as I am reelected,
What?
I will appoint a real special counsel, or maybe you'll call it a special prosecutor, whatever you want to call it, you can, to look at all of these bribes, kickbacks, and other crimes, as well as the shameless attempt at a cover-up. Justice will be done. The Biden crime family will be looked at. We have to get there first. We have to win the election. They're trying to step in my way at every path because the one person they don't want to run is Donald Trump. But when we get there, the Biden crime family will pay a price like other people are being forced to pay. And that price will be very, very substantial. It'll be fair, but you know what? If they're guilty, they're going to be guilty. What they are doing to justice in this country has never even been thought of before. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trump. No wonder this fourth indictment came. No wonder. So let me get this straight. These folks are responding like an animal trapped and got a gnawed on leg off. It's not discreet anymore. It ain't time for you to be civil when your big, fat, crusty claw has been caught in a bear trap or something. You don't have time to be talking about some, hello, you wouldn't mind to have a knife or something that I could cut my paw off with? You're going crazy, twisting, screaming. Yeah. You're making it obvious. I'm stuck in a trap here and I'm in trouble. My life's on the line and I'm willing to do whatever I got to do to get out of this. And that's why they're stopping Trump. They're trying to stop him because they know that if he gets in office, he's going to put the pedal to the metal to him this time. Yeah, they might have got away with it the first time. But notice, he's specifically saying, unlike Crooked, he let her off the hook. Now he's very clear. I'm going to come after you. That's what I'm going to do. Time to stop playing around. You guys have played around and done this too much. Y'all done ticked him off, ticked all of us off. And then you see some raggedy Republicans still walking around trying to justify all of these indictments. Trying to say Trump brought this on the Republican Party and Trump needs to be. They can go somewhere and sit on an egg, y'all. That's what they can do. So let's see all of the evil that they're trying to launch on Trump. Let's see what's going on lately. Jack in the Box, J6 committee indictment. Remember this?
How many FBI agents or confidential informants actively participated in the
Listen to what
events
she
of
said.
January 6th?
Listen to this.
Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate that I can't go into the specifics of sources and methods.
What? No, wait. This is the same J6 indictment that they're saying that Trump inspired this insurrection, right? Now, notice the key word that the FBI agents are trained to start off to say when they want to divert from these questions. Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate. Now, you'll hear this word come up again in a second. I'm sure you can appreciate what this is we can't tell you our corruption and our secret spying and our infiltrating and all of that stuff because of sources and methods. And I'm sure you can appreciate we're protecting their lives and their identities, right? No, you're protecting your sliminess. That's what you're doing.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants actively participate in the events of January 6th? Yes or no?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants commit crimes of violence on January 6th?
I can't answer that, sir.
Did any
You got to be kidding me. Now, we all lived through this. We all saw this interview before. What do you mean? You can't answer that. That should be the only answer you can give. 100% no. Absolutely not. But don't forget though, guys. Remember, Donald Trump, he the one that launched the insurrection. And Jack in the Box is trying to come after him for it. Coming after him for it, see, because Trump was responsible for it. Well, Jack in the Box, how do you account for this? I mean, that woman couldn't even say whether or not an informant or an agent acted violently or encouraged J6. I mean, he's not asking, hey, did Trump do this? Did any of MAGA folks act violently? Did Trump act violently? He's not even asking. He's asking about their agency that should be nowhere near this and definitely not involved in it, talking about some push them up, drain the swamp. As we see all of these people planted and they're doing this. And yet we got Jack in the Box trying to make us think that Donald Trump was the threat to the homeland on J6. Sounds like Jack in the Box and his boys were.
FBI agents or FBI informants actively encourage and incite crimes of violence on January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Can't answer.
Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate.
You hear it? Magic word again. A congressman, I'm sure you can appreciate. No, I cannot appreciate you sitting back trying to take us down the rabbit trail and deceive us. Congressman, I'm pretty sure you can appreciate. No. What I'm recognizing is that your butt is using this to cover up all of your psyops, all of your false flags, all of your interventions and stuff like that. That's what you're doing. And then you'll try to smooth it over with that word. I'm sure you can appreciate. No, what I see is you guys have grown too big. When you can say, well, I can't tell you stuff because of reasons.
I have to be very careful about what I can say about when.
Even now, because that's what you told us 2 years ago.
May I finish? About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Is it? You hear Raggedy Ray? Now, he's confident right here, y'all. He's confident. Because remember, Jack in the Box is trying to bring Trump in on some charges and stuff like that for J6. So now he's saying, "No, man, that's false. We ain't never did stuff like that."
Do you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American people no? We did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol.
Gentleman's time has a former.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you see that? That right there is not a, they ain't going a multiple choice question. It should be no. What in the heck would you have somebody already in the Capitol dressed with MAGA hats on waiting for them to come inside? Why would you do that? It's almost like you would have had to expect them to come inside. It's almost as if you might want them to come inside. It's almost as if you might want people to see folks with MAGA hats and stuff running around there so you can create the perception and narrative that they bust through the doors and they're running rampant all through there and they're going to hang Mike Pence and choke out nasty Pelosi. But now listen to Mike Pence. I mean, not Mike Pence, but listen to Raggedy Ray as he gets questioned again about it.
Capitol Police Chief Stevenson reportedly has asserted that the protest crowd was filled with federal agents. Are you aware of his assertion?
I am not.
What? Here it is. See, now I'm about to go and dive all into the psyche. I'm about to jump knee deep into his brain and expose. I should have been an FBI agent or an interrogator because I know exactly what these folks are trying to do. Call it a gift or whatever, but I can see through the bull crap. That man right there talking about, I have not. You think that dude don't know about what the Capitol Chief Police Officer has said about his agents being all up in that crowd? You really think that? They know everything else. They hear all of this stuff that goes on around. They listening to folks they shouldn't even be listening to. But now all of a sudden, the Capitol Chief of Police says that there were agents all through the crowd. And you telling me you show up in a hearing and act completely dumb. What? He said that? Man, that's crazy, man. When did he say it? No, I ain't heard nothing about that. Really, Ray? So now, off grip, already know this dude has a motive. He's trying to get off the hook. He's like, let me just get through this mess.
Would you agree with him that it was filled with federal agents
Watch this.
on January 6th?
I would really have to see more closely exactly what he said and get the full context.
There you go. See, because if I'd have came and said, absolutely, I heard about what he said, that also would mean you would have to have a reasonable response to it. So we know you already heard it, but you didn't want to have to give a reasonable response. You wanted to kick this out into the next meeting, next hearing. I can't speak on things that I don't know all the details about. You know what? Give me a little time to research it, and I'll get back in a closed setting or whatever. See, so they come in automatically ignorant. Any question that's referring to some other source, these folks will say, no, I really haven't heard about it, even though they have. This way, when you say, well, what do you think about that? Well, I can't comment on it because I don't really know much about it. See, I hate to have to get all in this big, fat, corrupt head. Now watch this.
To be able to evaluate it.
How many agents were actually agents or human resources were present in the Capitol complex and vicinity on January 6th?
Well, again, it's going to get confusing because it depends on when we...
Now, did you see what this cat is trying to do? He asked how many agents. Now, he knows the context. Christopher Wray knows the context of this question. He's asking him how many agents or human sources were in that crowd on J6. And he starts off, again, that's hard because, you know, once the stuff started happening, we had agents coming in. He knows he's not talking about the backup. He knows he's not referring to, oh, okay, we got a situation here, sending enough agent. We're talking about the agents that you premeditatedly slid into that audience. That's the ones we're talking about. But Christopher Wray trying to make us think we stupid. But now this guy calls it out.
We deployed and responded to the breach that occurred. Obviously,
how many were under
federal agents?
Sure. You're talking, and you and I both know what we're talking different things here.
Yeah. And just because Christopher Wray did that lets me know he's guilty. It lets me know he's hiding something. It lets me know he knows that they had all kind of human sources, agents, and all of that in that crowd acting a fool. Because if you didn't, you would just say so. Now you want to try to come out talking about some more. That's hard to say. I mean, you're talking about people who came to them. I mean, what is an agent? I mean, when you talk about agents, I mean, we're all agents of something. You know what I'm saying? So let's just be real, specific about it. Well, I am. Which ones were in that crowd talking about, help them up? Yeah. How many of those agents were running around talking about, drain the swamp? That's what I want to know. You big old bag of nastiness, you.
And please don't distract here because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th. How many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number. As
I
I
bet
said
you
here.
can.
I'm not sure there were undercover.
Now, notice the key word. See, I had to do it to him, y'all. Again, I'm not sure that there were. And I'm not, you know what? I'm not sure that they were. He's playing stupid. He's playing James Comey. See, when James Comey came to Congress, Democrats stole the leading questions. He had all the details, busting out his notes and everything. The president actually asked me on January 3rd what that. Then when it came down to the questions from the Democrats, you know what? I don't quite remember that date. Any other dates? Right off the top of his head. When they said, where did you find out about Hillary Clinton paying for that dossier? Yeah, I can't quite remember when I heard of it. I think I heard about it at the same time when it broke on the news. Are you kidding me? You're telling me the FBI is getting all this information real time. Just like Creepy Sleepy and all of them. They all run the same plays, y'all. You go to the White House, excuse me, Black Gay Drop. Did the Biden administration know this 4th and 5th and 6th and God knows how many indictments were coming down? No, because we're not involved with that. They want us to believe the man woke up that morning and said, what? Trump's indicted again? That's crazy. I had no idea. They think we're stupid. And that's what burns me up. So now here he is trying to say, I don't. Now notice he ain't saying absolutely none. It's I don't think. That's I still am leaving a little wiggle room because I'm a worm and I want to get off the hook.
For agents on scene.
I find that kind of a remarkable statement, Director.
Me too.
At this point, you don't know whether there were undercover federal agents, FBI agents in the crowd or in the Capitol on January 6th.
I say that because I want to be very careful. There have been a number of court filings related to some of these topics, and I want to make sure that I stick within what's in.
Okay. See, there's the next one. Yeah, that evil brain is dipping. So now what does he do? I say that because there's the court filings. I don't want to interrupt with an ongoing investigation. Well, no, all you got to do is just say if there were people in there or not. That's all you got to do. Just give me one. Raggedy Ray, was there any of them in there? Because just a minute ago, you were talking about nope.
Understand that, but I thought I heard you say you didn't know whether there were FBI agents or informants or human sources in the Capitol or in the vicinity on January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
That's what he said. That's what he said because he's a weasel. That's what he said. See, and all that does is lets me know either you are completely incompetent or you're a liar. Because you can't tell me you're all the way up at the top of the food chain. And then you're last to know that your agents were running around in that crowd dressed like Trump supporters? You're telling me that? Because now you're trying to feed me doo-doo and tell me it's chocolate. You knew there were people in there. But now, again, I don't know. I mean, I want to be careful. Again, I'm sure you can appreciate all of that.
Very specifically to undercover agents.
Yeah. And so are you acknowledging then there were undercover agents?
As I sit here right now, I do not believe there were undercover agents on scene.
Any
FBI
assets?
agents.
Did you have any assets present that day in the crowd?
When it comes to what you're calling assets or what we would call confidential human sources, that's a place where, again, I want to be careful, much as I said.
Again, I want to be careful not to incriminate myself. I want to be careful not to be honest with the American people who pays my salary and pays for us to go ahead and surveil our citizens and attack our citizens and jail our citizens and target our citizens and label them domestic terrorists and all of that crap. Yeah, again, I want to be careful because I got to protect the raggedy Democrats' narrative that J6 was the greatest attack on the homeland. And then that gives us a predicate to open up all of these investigations and snoop around against American citizens. So again, I want to be careful not to really reveal our corruption and our motive, but I'm pretending I'm protecting sources and methods.
Question. There are court filings that I think speak to this that I'm happy to make sure we get to you, assuming they're not under seal. And that can better answer the question than I can as I sit here right now.
How many individuals were either FBI employees or people that the FBI had made contact with were in the January 6th entry of the Capitol?
Now he's about to start pulling the Joe Biden. Because, see, this is what happens all the time. All this corruption starts coming out. And then as it comes out, they will start easing off of their very emphatic, no, never know nothing about my son's business dealings. Didn't even meet any of his partners or friends. Don't know what. He was working for Burisma. I found out when you guys found out. Then more information come out. And it's, well, I knew his business partners, but I never did business with them. See, it always kind of like, let me just shift a little bit. So now more information's coming out about J6. And let's see what he says now.
And surrounding area.
So I really need to be careful here talking about where we have or have not used confidential human sources.
Was there one or more individuals that would fit that description on January 6th that were in or around the Capitol?
I believe there is a filing in one of the January 6 cases that can provide.
There it is. I'm not going to get up here and say yes or no to nothing. I really want to be careful about this. And I believe there was a filing that you could provide more information. Well, you could provide the information. Why do I need to go to a filing? Don't you control the FBI? Don't you know what agents you have there? Why do I need to go to a filing and all of that stuff? And again, I want to be careful where we put sources and methods. How about this? You ain't got to tell me that. You ain't got to tell me I had one sitting up on top of the building to the left at noon. No. Were they there? Were they in the crowd? Unbelievable.
little more information about this, and I'm happy to see if we can follow back up with you.
I just want an answer. Was there one or more? I mean, you would know if there was at least one individual who worked for the FBI who entered the Capitol on that day.
I just can't speak to that here, but I'm happy to get the court filing that.
It's been 2 years, and you're now come before us. The gentleman asks these questions, makes all kinds of insinuations, and you nod your head yes, and then I ask you simply, was there one or more?
Yeah.
And you won't answer that. So I'm going to make the assumption that there was more than one, more than five, more than 10, and that you're ducking the question because you don't want to answer for the fact that you had at least one.
Of course, that's exactly what he's doing, because it doesn't take much. Two things that we should have heard out of him and the others. Because, see, I'm laying the groundwork for Jack in the Box, to destroy Jack in the Box case coming up. So now, the first thing, when they asked the female director, were there any of them there and did any of them participate? I can't answer that. Now, you got to understand, by saying I can't answer it, you already did. Because there's no reason that the FBI would ever or should ever be in the middle of a crowd instigating violence, sitting back and trapping people, planning it, coordinating it, encouraging it. There's only one answer to the question. No. Okay, if you don't say no, then that means it's an automatic yes. You know, that's one of the things where it's like, hey, Kev, are you black? I can't answer that. That's one of those, absolutely. Why would you even question that? I mean, it's obvious that I'm black, you know, but nope, not with her. I can't answer that. Thank you for answering it. Then the next question goes to Raggedy Ray. Do you know whether any FBI agents or assets was in that crowd? Just one. Again, I got to be careful. There's indictments or there's questions and they ask them all of that stupid stuff. The answer should be yes or no, because see, when you say I can't answer that, you just answered it. When you start talking about there's a filing out there, you just answered it because you know all your personnel. So that means that you know there was something there, but you don't want to answer the question. So you're going to kick it out and use all these excuses. Well, there's some filings. And again, I got to be careful, human. So thank you for answering that. So I'm going to do what that guy just did. I'm going to assume there was 100 gazillion trillion billion of them there. And then you get Jack in the Box going to try to pin this on Trump. Tells Tucker. Okay, well, let's see.
I mean, again, we know from the testimony of the FBI director that there were intelligence, whatever you want to call them, operatives, people who were in contact with the FBI were in the crowd that day, not identified as such. Would that information have reached you? Would you know about that?
So it's interesting you asked that, because within a few days of January 6th, I had a media reach out to me and go, hey, you aware FBI had undercovers in the crowd? Wow. I was like, oh, no, they would have told me. I had Steve Dan.
Unless they didn't want you to know. Unless they couldn't or didn't have time enough to get you on board with their diabolical scheme and had to leave you out of the loop. Yeah, unless that's what happened, because that's exactly what happened. They probably sensed that this guy probably won't be willing to play ball. And I even questioned some of those cops that miraculously just died afterwards. Cops that had suicide. Maybe they went home and was like, man, tonight was bullcrap. They set us up. This was a big fat psych op. And all of a sudden, I'm finding I'm having heart pains and suicidal thoughts and things like that. Maybe they didn't have time enough to recruit enough corrupt, evil cops that would either go along with it or go on CNN and talk, I was so scared and all of that. Maybe you had enough cops go, man, something wasn't right about this. And unfortunately got depressed and stuff. I mean, who knows?
They had watched the field box on a call the day before. Didn't say anything to me about it. And now to see that they allegedly, according to the GAO report, had 18 operatives
18
in the crowd. That's a lot of operatives.
A lot of operatives, Jack in the Box. A lot of operatives. Okay. I mean, now, here you got Jack in the Box saying that Trump, he was the one that led the troops into that Capitol, I guess, and he's pulling up all these charges. Let's see.
On our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy.
It sure was. All of those plants, Nancy Pelosi, all of the people who participated in this big fat psych op and false flag, it was an unprecedented attack on our democracy. Unbelievable.
It's described in the indictment. It was fueled by
Beautiful. Beautiful shot, Trump. Wait a minute. Let's see it again. I love it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I love when unexpected stuff like that happens.
They allegedly, according to the GAO report,
let's see Jack in the Box again.
the day before didn't say anything good. And now to see that they allegedly, according to the GAO report, had 18.
Yeah, right there, Jack in the Box. He's
was an unprecedented assault.
Wait for
on the
it.
seat of American democracy. It's described in the indictment. It was fueled by.
Bravo, Trump. Bravo. I love it.
Has been indicted.
What?
This makes him the first former U.S. president in history to be indicted on federal charges.
The only indictment that should be coming down is against President Biden for whatever he was doing as vice president.
I don't think Joe Biden thinks he can beat Donald Trump, so he's got to destroy him. This is election interference.
If you get in the way of the Democratic Party, they will target you, they will come after you, and they will try and destroy your life.
Donald Trump now moving forward with his campaign, not letting this indictment slow him down.
Never before have the two standards of justice in our country been more revealed. But they will fail and we will win bigger and better than ever before. When you arrest your leading political opponent, we no longer have a democracy. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving.
That's right. So, Dumpster Juice Dems, I hope y'all was listening to that message. If you're waiting for us to pack up our ball and bat and go home, you're going to be waiting for a long time. I mean, here's the deal. We get up and we piss excellence. That's what it is. We just get up and we piss excellence. That's right. I mean, we're the greatest. That's right. We're Ricky Bobby. Ricky Bobby, the best there is. So now, here we go again, y'all. Here we go.
Indictment brings felony charges against Donald John Trump.
So y'all send out another one of your champions to take down Achilles. That's what it is. Gagagrius. So after Trump goes through the rest of them, he's going to finish her off at some point. And I hope he does exactly what Achilles did. Is there no one else? Is there no one else? As our raggedy behind Republicans aren't stopping this, talking about, man, Trump, you know, you must be brave because we've never seen all of these Democrats and these globalists attack one person. I wouldn't want to be under all of that attack and pressure. Yeah, but that's why no one will ever remember your name. As he jumps on the Trump train and flies off to deal with people like this. So let's hear this black witch, okay? Because here she is spewing out bat wings and Eye of Newt and trying to put curses and hexes on Trump.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump has until noon next Friday to surrender to authorities in Atlanta, Georgia.
For what?
He was hit with criminal charges for a fourth time on Monday when a Georgia grand jury issued a criminal indictment accusing him of attempting to illegally overturn his 2020 election loss to Democrat Joe Biden. The indictment listed Trump and 18 others as defendants, including associates Rudy Giuliani and John Eastman, along with a total of 41 criminal counts. It was all part of a sweeping case brought by Fulton County.
Look at her with those cankles. You see her coming in with those cankles right there? I don't know where her calf and her ankles begin or end. She coming in there walking on those dang on elephant legs, trying to act like she's dead serious. Coming in with an entourage of corrupt folks. Unreal. Listen to her garbage.
District Attorney Fonnie Willis.
Every individual charged in the indictment is charged with one count of violating Georgia's Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act.
Unbelievable, these charges. They are digging up all kind of stuff. Now, racketeering? What is he, a mafia boss? The RICO Act? Are you kidding? All right, now we got to go with something, guys, because we can't keep recycling the same indictments and charges. Let's try something grandiose. I know this might be a stretch. It might be a stretch. But you know what? Let's go ahead and imply that Trump and all of these other politicians, all of these lawyers, all of them were racketeering. They were like Bugsy. They up in there like Lucky Luciano, man. Racketeering. And they want us to go, okay, we're going to respect this as a legitimate indictment. Let's see where it goes. Obvious that this is bootleg. Racketeering, they couldn't come up with nothing else.
Through participation in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere, to accomplish the illegal goal of allowing Donald J. Trump to seize the presidential term of office beginning on January 20th, 21.
And now the sad part about this is the Democrats are really operating like the mob. This is what they do. Shake down people, threaten people, intimidate people. That's how they operate. So she's talking about that Trump and his group of folks who disagreed with the election results pretty much are what? I mean, they're stealing cigarette trucks and moonshine, making it and all that mess. Racketeering, y'all.
Racketeering is used to target members of organized crime groups and carries a penalty of up to 20 years in prison. Trump has previously denied any wrongdoing and accused Willis of being politically motivated.
I make decisions in this office based on the facts and the law. The law is completely...
Can barely say that with a straight face. If this woman right now is lying straight through her teeth, I wonder how she sleeps at night, infested with lies. Straight face. I make decisions based on the law. This is not politically motivated. Everybody knows it is. We don't have to pretend. You can stop the charade. We all know it's politically motivated. We know racketeering charges. That alone lets me know, where'd you pull that one out of the butt? But this is what burns me up. This is what makes me mad, because they come out and they try to pretend that they're dead serious. And then sit back and start throwing out these statements. Nobody's above the law. I'm not motivated by politics. This isn't. And I'm going, just be real. Just keep it real.
Nonpartisan. That's how decisions are made in every case. We followed the same process. We look at the facts, we look at the law, and we bring charges.
There was earlier today, there was a fictitious document.
Fictitious document?
The clerk's office that was circulated online with charges against former President Donald Trump. That fictitious document matched exactly the charges that we now see in this indictment.
Y'all see little teeny Miss Piggy right there? Now, she done stepped out before it's time. Man, she should have listened to Orson Welles. There'll be no wine until there's time. So now you step out talking about some indictment, and somebody had already released it before the grand jury got finished making a decision. This was a premeditated indictment. Had it all drafted. Couldn't wait. Got anxious. Send it out. Don't worry. Nobody will find out. Nobody will check what time it dropped versus what time we deliberated and came to a conclusion. So here we go.
Tell us more about that document leak.
Yeah, I want to know more about that.
The former president's lawyers who are saying that this is emblematic of a serious problem with your office.
No, I can't tell you anything about what you refer to.
What? Did she just hit us with a Raggedy Ray? A James Comey? I can't tell you anything. I ain't heard nothing about it. I mean, people start rumors and stuff. I don't know.
What I can tell you is that we had a grand jury here in Fulton County. They deliberated till almost 8 o'clock, if not right after 8 o'clock. An indictment was returned. It was true billed, and you now have an indictment.
Let's see some of the people that was on that grand jury, y'all, who came to that conclusion. Some of these non-biased, smart, intelligent people. Now, here's one of them right here, who's a Satanist or a witch. She's declared she's really a witch and stuff like that. Remember her? Remember her? This is one of the people, I guess, that stayed until 8 o'clock. And we're supposed to respect this as a legitimate investigation.
To hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in.
Yeah.
And so I thought it'd be really cool to
You see those witch eyes? You see that witch nose right there? That's right. That right there is a witch all day long. I'll get you, my pretty. She even got the physical characteristics of a witch. It's unbelievable. She didn't even have to confess that she was a witch. Soon as I looked at her, I was like, that's a witch. She fits every stereotype of a witch. The evil witch eyes. The evil witch nose. All she needs is a wart. One big fat wart right there. And a hat and a broom on her back. And sure enough, we could cast her in the next witch movie. Unbelievable. And just straight out there, just spreading all of her witchcraft on the dang on networks. Yeah, I want to indict him and I want to go and read him in.
like 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly?
And putting a hex on him. You put a spell on me. Looking at him with these witch eyes, talking about, Trump, evil Trump. She probably got a voodoo doll of Trump right now, poking it. Unreal.
I swear, and me getting to swear him in, I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
After everything that you've seen, what would your reaction be if the DA decides against bringing any charges after what you've seen?
I will be sad if nothing happens.
Now, this is a person that was on that grand jury. Now, you have to understand, they drug this chick out on all these networks. They're putting someone crazy like this in charge of the fate of our elections in our country. You're leaving decisions like the president being indicted in the hands of this young, crazy, witchcraft-filled girl who's bragging about getting Donald Trump. Bragging about it. You think she went in wanting to hear about the evidence? They picked the worst people on this grand jury ever. If this chick made it on that grand jury, she made it on there just because of that. She hates Trump, obviously. She's crazy. She has no common sense. And she's sitting back telling everybody her motive.
Like that's about my only request there is for something to happen. I don't necessarily know what it is. I'm not the legal expert. I'm not the judge. I'm not the lawyers, but I will be frustrated if nothing happens.
If nothing happens, I thought when you're on the grand jury, you're supposed to go in and say, you know what? I'm not here to hope something happens or not. I'm here to hear the evidence and make a decision on whether this makes sense or not, and the person should be indicted. This woman went in like, so when are we going to go ahead and lock Trump up? No, forget the details. I don't need that. Look, man, you think I came here to hear evidence and make a rational, fair decision? Are you kidding me? I'm a witch. I was picked because I'm a witch. That's why I'm here. So evidence be damned. Get that out of there. Excuse me, let me get my broom. Mop that mess right on out of there. Let's get to the indictments, okay? Now, when do I get to swear them in? Our fate is in the hands of this chick right here. That's what you're telling me?
This was too much. Too much information, too much of my time, too much of everyone's time, too much of their time. Too much argument in court about getting people to appear before us. There was just too much.
Now, can you imagine being the president or any rational person in your life is on the line and you see this chick on TV and people's like, yeah, we trust this chick with the fate of a human's life as you're listening to her. You would be going, you putting my life in the hands of a kid, a crazy kid. Not just, honestly, you could swap this chick out with like a sixth grader and the sixth grader will approach it probably more maturely than this chick. Something should happen. It's too much. We put in too much time. And I just wanted a moment alone with the president so I could look him in the eyes and swear him in.
For this to just be, oh, okay, we're good. Bye.
I am not an expert on clerks' duty.
And obviously, you're not an expert on picking rational, fair people on a grand jury. You're an expert on trying to pick crazy people that are never Trumpers that will give you the right to indict Trump on some of the stupidest stuff. Because you got to be purely 100% stupid to sit back and listen to the charges that they're trying to drop on Trump and say, I don't care about those charges. I just see Orange Man bad. So whatever y'all tell me, even though it doesn't make sense, I'm going with Orange Man bad, obviously. So let's indict.
Or even administrative duties. I wouldn't know how to work that system. And
you don't know how to work any system except corruption.
Next question.
Every time they file an indictment, we go way up in the polls. We need one more indictment to close out this election. One more indictment, and this election is closed out. Nobody has even a chance. We've already defeated the Republicans. They're at 2 and 3 and 1.
Knock them out the blocks, Rick. Knock them out. That's right. They don't get it, man. They think we're going to tap out. They don't even realize if they lock him up, you know what's going to happen. I'm voting for him anyway. At this point, there's nothing they can do that would make me go, man, all right, I get it. I guess I'm not going to go in. Nothing. He could be in bars, behind bars with the full orange suit on. I'm like, vote for him. There you go. So all of this effort to stop him is in vain because all they're doing is making folks burrow down even deeper. Like, see, this is the reason. You're not going to convince me otherwise because y'all are doing too much that is making it obvious that y'all are just as, y'all are the very thing you're accusing Donald Trump of being. That's what y'all are. And then got the nerve to bring on the number one witch of them all, It's a tight one between. I think she might have been either mentored by Nasty Pelosi, because Pelosi is older than her. But I'm going with Pelosi, and then here comes Crooked. That's right. Nasty and Crooked. And she comes on this network with MSNBC to talk to another witch, Rachel Madcow, with that big fat nose. Okay? Toucan's and nose. Now, I would think Rachel Madcow would open up her questions with Hillary about, first of all, I like to know why you never accepted the peaceful transition of power and the results of the last election, Crooked. That's what she should open up with. She should open up with, Crooked, word on the street is that the Durham report says that you were the one that mustered up and paid for that dossier. Yeah, but she didn't do that. What did she say? What did she open up with?
The system of democracy at its heart is the idea that the people get to decide how we are governed. Oh. And if we no longer believe that our will is effectuated through the system, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen.
Now notice what she's doing, guys. What she's doing is projecting the way all of us feel about what's going on right now. But she's just blaming us. What she's saying is the exact same thing we're saying, but she's reversing the culprit. They're the ones doing this. They're the ones that is making the system look exactly like she's describing. But now she's trying to make it seem like all of these liberals and normal people, normal Americans, are afraid that our systems are being violated and you can no longer trust it. They're guilty of everything she's trying to pretend that we're afraid of these things because of these angry MAGA folks and the darn Trump. Here we go.
And that the only way an election is trustworthy is if they come out on top of it. Then something, it's
totally not aware. Totally lack of self-awareness. You're talking about the number one agent of that you're describing. You're pretending like we don't recognize Crooked right across from you. Crooked across from you, man. You know who you're talking to. You're talking to Crooked, the number one denier of elections. And every time, so if we don't win, guess what? It was stolen from us. It's crazy. Like, people would have to be just watching this network to not realize that what she's describing is the very behavior of the crooked woman sitting across from her. And she's doing it as if nobody recognizes. Like, I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, is that Crooked across from her? Is she really saying that to Crooked? Because Crooked's guilty of that.
Tells you something not just about that person or that moment. It maybe wounds us as a democracy in a way that is hard to repair. Mm-hmm. What do you think about how we get better after the wounds that have been inflicted on us?
Crooked is back, y'all. She's back, about to give us some words of wisdom how to protect our democracy and how to get back on track and start building trust and stuff amongst the country. I can't even believe they brought this dirty mop back on a show to give any opinion. And if you ever wonder whether this woman and her network are paid and bought by the DNC or whoever supports these Democrats, she did not even acknowledge all of the times she denied the election. She didn't even acknowledge the fact that Hillary Clinton paid for a full-blown lie that launched an investigation that lasted 2.5 years, only to find out it was bogus. Bogus. Don't even ask her about that. Like it never happened. Didn't even start off with, hey, you're talking about Trump and all of this stuff, but didn't you burn, break up Blackberries and all of that stuff and bleach bit stuff? Didn't even ask her about none of that. Ain't gonna give her the platform to vomit up what she claims is words of wisdom to restore civility.
This process.
Well, I think, the truth matters. I think having these cases be brought in such professional manners, we'll see how they unfold. Obviously, the trials, if there are trials, are going to be critically important. But the article you mentioned that I published about the weaponization of loneliness really does, in my view, point to the larger cultural concerns, because the lack of trust, the divisiveness, the undermining of faith in ourselves, in each other, respect for our institutions, the rule of law, all of that
was created by you guys. You see this nose? It ain't long enough. Dang on it. Wait a minute. Her nose right now needs to be like this. She should be able to use that nose as a trumpet. Here comes the liar. Hear ye, hear ye. So now this chick's talking about some yes, cultural, and we got to really restore. Oh man, y'all make me laugh. But yeah, Hillary schooling us, y'all, about all the things that her and her whole crew created and drug our society into. We weren't hating each other 6 to 8 years ago. I mean, until she got up there talking about they're all deplorables. You could put them in a basket of fire. Until all of these Democrats start running around talking about white nationalism is everywhere and running rampant. Yeah, so let's finish watching her nose grow beyond belief.
Has been deliberately inculcated within our body politic. You know, there were trends before. I mean, we have seen how people have become more isolated, less community oriented, less civically minded. Then we see how social media and technology has certainly accelerated a lot of those trends. But the deliberate effort to divide Americans, I think it's...
Oh my God. The deliberate effort to divide Americans done solely by the Democrat Party. That is their mission. That is in their bylaws. Hear ye, hear ye. As a corrupt dumpster juice Democrat, we vow to divide the nation, to have our fellow men and women hate each other, to divide men against women, children against parents, cats against dogs. All of that. That is how they operate across the board. And she wants us to think that that's not what they do. Unreal. So now we got to remind Crooked just how crooked she is. Because, see, she's talking about dividing and stuff like that. And our institutions are undermined. Listen to Crooked.
It's also critical to understand that, as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
Insurrectionists! You nasty, dirty, crooked insurrectionists. Somebody go and get, let's see who should be locking. Oh, Jack in the Box. Hey, Jack. Where's Jack in the Box? Jack in the Box, she's an election denier. Lock her up, right? She inspired all of these people to burn down cities, to run around talking about Trump's not our president and all of that stuff. Flip over cars, loot. She inspired all of that mess.
We are still every day dealing with this.
And there's the witch just interviewing her right now. The witch who just got up there and projected all of this on us. Now let's see if the wicked witch can tell the truth, because she's also got a big long nose.
Question of whether or not our president was chosen, not just because of a foreign intelligence operation. We're grappling with this existential question as to whether his campaign was part of that foreign intelligence operation.
What? No wonder she couldn't ask Crooked about, hey, why didn't you ever acknowledge that Trump was the legitimate president? Would you like to do it right now on air? You can go ahead and clear the air. Do you think Trump really won? I would have loved to see how Crooked dance around that. Well, the reason she couldn't ask Crooked that is because she's just as crooked. She's parroting Crooked Hillary's statements about that. So no wonder she brought her back on and just tiptoed right past that. So here she is pushing the same thing. She should be indicted.
Russia, Vladimir Putin, Russia hates Russia, Putin, Russia, Moscow, Russian pro-Russian, Russia.
Ooh, that's a lot of Russian. Boy, I tell you. Done by that big pelican. Done by that big toucan sand nose. Done by that Humpty Dumpty nose. Talking about somebody is stupid. I shoot an arrow like Cupid. I use a word that don't mean nothing, like Lupid. That's what's coming out of her mouth. A lot of Russia, Putin, Kremlin, Russia, Putin, Kremlin, Russian, Putin, Kremlin. So now, that chick, all that division, all those lies, all that undermining our institutions, that chick was a major factor, and she's interviewing Crooked like both of them are innocent.
Russian against us. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
I'm telling you.
There were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did, and I take responsibility for those parts of it that I should, but Jane, it was like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. And
she is the corrupt human tornado. She's the cyclone, she's a volcano, hurricane, windstorm, earthquake, all in one. Talking about a human evil tornado. She embodies evilness. Unbelievable. But this is just a reminder to her and anybody who might be under the delusion that the Democrats wear the white hats and that these charges and indictments against Trump are justified. Why is this woman getting a pass? Shouldn't they be snooping up her alley? Shouldn't they be going, hey man, you are all over the internet denying the election. All over, along with the fake news. And now y'all all are excited about Trump being indicted over denying the election.
So I know that he knows that this wasn't on the level. I don't know that we'll ever know everything that happened, but clearly we know.
No, we do. We do. We finally figured it out, y'all. We knew it up front. You was what happened. You and your evil money paid for that fake dossier. That's what happened. Talk about we may never find out what happened. Now we know what happened, but Rachel Maddow didn't even ask her about it.
A lot and are learning more every day, and history will probably sort it all out. So of course he's obsessed with me, and I believe that it's a guilty conscience in so much as he has a conscience.
Here's another one.
We won, but I didn't lose.
Wait a minute, y'all. Bring in that gap. Doot, doot, doot. That gap between the teeth. Gap band in the house, y'all. That's right. Burn rubber on me, Johnny. So, there we go. Those teeth right there is fighting to get out those lips. Look like they should be sticking straight out. So now let's see Barney, who's in that purple, get up here and tell us how she took it to the chin. And she, peacefully got out and conceded that I took it to the chin. Or did she say something else?
I got the votes, but we won't know exactly how many because of how they cheated.
I did win my election. I just didn't get to have the job. We were robbed of an election.
Using the word rigged, using the word steal.
Teacher?
Do you think it's dangerous going into 2020?
I don't, because we can actually back it up.
Teacher. Oh, her over there lying about the election. What? You ain't gonna do nothing to her? But you just told me I can't be lying about the election, teacher. But now she over there, her said that she won and that they had the votes. Nothing. I mean, what do you think a kid would do in that situation where they obviously see that everybody else in the classroom is doing the same thing they're doing? And then they do it, and all of a sudden, teacher's like, get out the room. You got demerits. You're getting suspended. All of that mess. And you're going, hey, that's a two-tier system. And everybody goes, shut up. No, it's fair. What they did is acceptable. Okay? Unreal. So let's finish hearing Barney up there spew out all these lies. Stolen. I believe it.
I went outside asking if I'm ever going to concede. The answer is no.
This is not a speech of
They
concession.
ask if I would ever concede. Now, the answer is no. Wow. Jack in the Box needs to see all of this. Because under these indictments, this is illegal. They should have automatically known that they really did lose. And because these are fair and free and most beautiful elections ever, they can't be questioned. And by this person questioning these elections along with Crooked, knowing that they really lost, but for whatever reason, they can't take the loss. So they're purposefully going out there and talking about, no, I ain't conceding. No, I didn't lose. We won. They cheated. They're purposely defrauding the public. That's what they're doing. I mean, this is such an easy case to try by just showing them their own work. But when you got folks like that witch and they're talking about, I want to indict them, it could go anyway.
Because concession needs to acknowledge an action is right, true, or proper. And I will not concede because the erosion of our democracy is not.
No, the erosion of those teeth is a problem. Up there talking about some, I love you, you love me. Big Barney with that big gap is up there talking about the erosion of our democracy. Dang on it.
Steal your election.
Steal during your
It was not a
election.
free and fair election. I think the election was stolen from the people of Georgia.
I believe it was stolen from the voters. Thousands of Georgians had their voices stolen because they were not able to cast a ballot.
Fake news. All of them, all on the fake news. The same fake news is like these indictments against Donald Trump are very damning. He knew that that was a fair election and he denied it. All on those networks. But we're supposed to take them seriously and these indictments. Unbelievable. What's this? Oh, this is current. This is current. So now let's go ahead and see some more hypocrisy, because if I'm thinking straight, you're not allowed to, let me see, what
Got the right attorney general in position to do it.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. See, remember, guys, you can't weaponize your Department of Justice against your political enemy. See, you're not allowed to do that when you're Trump, when you're a Republican. So remember when Trump was in? Any question, any comment about any of these corrupt Democrats? Look at this. He's unleashing his Department of Justice all on his political. You know what? We're at a turning point. We're at a turning point. Just right now, we're bordering a banana republic. All of that stuff. So yeah, they were real concerned back then about releasing the power of the Department of Justice on your political opponent.
We now know they really have been trying to gin up criminal prosecutions and criminal investigations into the president's perceived enemies, politically motivated persecution, right? Courtesy of Bill Barr. I'll roll in the FBI on you. That's how banana republics work, right?
The home of the 45th president of the United States has been raided by the FBI.
Oh,
Mr. Trump is using.
Wow. Well, this didn't age well. And the only reason nobody is turning off MSNBC listening to Rachel Maddow is because that's probably the only person they've been listening to. So they don't realize that Rachel Maddow right now, who's probably cheering on the Biden administration for going after Trump, was running all of her mouth all over the internet talking about they're going after their political opponent. Then they show up at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, just like that. I mean, who's the president when that happened? Oh, it was Joe Biden. His FBI, Merrick Garland. Yeah, nothing. No. You know what? This is an outrage. It looks like they're going after a political opponent.
Using the Justice Department to go after his perceived enemies. I feel worried about the prospect of the Justice Department being used as a tool of this president or any. In our little banana republic, any capable prosecutor can get a grand jury to hand down an indictment of something as innocent as a ham sandwich.
What? But now these are legitimate. Now they're legitimate. Back then, though, it was the ham sandwich analogy and all of that stuff. But now that we got witches, and the grand jury, it's legit. We needed witches to be legitious. You understand that? More witches makes it more legitious. All right, so, what's this currently?
An indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump.
News on former President Trump. He's been indicted for the 4th time in 5 months.
Do that.
On the president's behalf is weaponizing the Justice Department to go after the president's enemies. When you win an election, you don't seek to just prosecute the losing side.
What? Man, you hear Pencil Neck talking like he got some sense back then. Yeah, you win an election. You don't just use the Department of Justice to go after your political enemies unless you're the corrupt Democrats who play by their own rules and do everything opposite of what they say. And then want mercy when they are up against the wall. Now they want you to play fair. Yeah, we spent all this time kicking you around, punching you with your hands tied behind your back, bullying you, going after your family and friends. We spent all this time setting you up, all of that. But if you get in power, leave us be. If you get in power, even though we're corrupt and evil and you would have a legitimate reason to put the Department of Justice foot all the way up all of our butts, don't do it because it breaks our norms. Yeah, it's not right. So listen to all of them. They were mad back then at even the thought of Trump using the DOJ to go after his political enemies.
President using the Justice Department as a weapon to get what he wants.
Department of Justice is totally politicized.
Sticking the Department of Justice on political opponents.
Threatening to imprison his political rival.
Big face.
Banana Republic style.
Trying to exact revenge against all of his enemies. Tin pot dictator in a banana republic.
That's back when he had the poodle still on top of the head. Y'all see him? Dictator, banana Republican. Now all of them. All of these Marxists right here on this network and these Democrats that's on these networks, all of this projection makes me want to throw up, because what they're describing, once again, is their own behavior. They love being able to go after their political enemies. They love a one-party system. They love being able to silence the opposition. And yet here they are when they're out of power trying to use going after this is Banana Republic that we really want to mimic and be like only when we're in power. But right now, we don't like the Banana Republic. We don't like it when it's against us.
More like a Banana Republic dictator.
He's using government resources to go after his political opponent.
Essentially, we are a Banana Republic. That we are seeking to have a bogus and criminal investigation into a political opponent. And that's using...
Wait a minute. I'm sure all of them are rushing to Trump's defense right now. I'm sure they're like, man, look, even though I don't like Trump, man, this ain't right. Because I was all over the internets talking about we can't use the DOJ to go after our political opponents. We don't want to become a Banana Republic. I'm sure they'll come to Trump's defense, won't they?
The Department of Justice to also target Trump's political opponent for nefarious reasons. This is a massive abuse of power and a betrayal of our values. The President of the United States is targeting a family member of a political opponent. This is the type of thing that happens in a Banana Republic.
And trying to take out a political rival in Joe Biden.
Criminally investigating an American political rival, someone the president is worried about losing to in the next election.
Now, why is it, though, that the fake news can recognize certain tactics when they want to, but they can't recognize them now? I mean, they were all over the place. It sounds like they all know what a Banana Republic looks like and an abuse of power looks like. They made it up under Trump. But now that it's really, they made all that up under Trump, but now that it's really happening, they can't recognize it. It's funny that they can't recognize Banana Republic tactics right now. How is that? Now, back then, they all was Banana Republicologists. That's right, we're Banana Republicologists. You can't do that. I know what a Banana Republic is. I know what the abuse of... but now they can't even recognize it. Right when it's up under their nose. I recognize it, though.
To investigate my principal opponent or a principal opponent in the upcoming election. Houston, we have a problem.
Don't you think that's something that should be investigated when the incumbent political party opens a counterintelligence investigation on the candidate of the opposing party?
We know Trump is itching to politicize the Justice Department, and the Attorney General has been super shady.
The president is weaponizing the Department of Justice to bring cases against his enemies. The Department of Justice is in an existential crisis.
Again, it's yet another example of the Justice Department basically losing all of its independence in this administration.
This is now about corrupting the next election. And for me, this was crossing the red line.
A president who is actively trying to potentially steal the upcoming election.
This is crazy, man. I love when people put together these montages right here that, for whatever reason, our bubbleheads walking around maybe either don't see. And the sad part is if they did see, they probably wouldn't even recognize it. It's different. It's Trump. He's evil. I'm going to do a video on, what is his name? I watched it today. Mr. Reagan. I like his work. But he did a psychoanalysis, a breakdown on why liberal voters will still support the Democrat Party, no matter how evil and corrupt they are. Because of the psychological manipulation that the Democrats have been working on forever to convince their voters that Republicans and conservatives are evil. See, you can be a bad person or make bad decisions, but long as you're not inherently evil, we'll overlook a little bit of your corruption. We feel that your corruption is for a greater cause because for whatever reason, we look at you as primarily good, but you sometimes have to do bad things or, this and that. But when we look at conservatives, whatever they say or do, everything is interpreted as is coming from a source of evil. So when you're evil, that's in the bone. There's no in and out of evil. You're always evil. That's why it kills me when these folks try to label folks racist, and I say, so you're telling me that person's racist. That means I need to see all the evidence of racist behavior because you're not a part-time racist. You're telling me that Trump is a racist, but yet he's kissing little black babies. He had a black girlfriend. He was hanging out with Jesse Jackson, hung out with Mike Tyson, defended him, paid for Jennifer Hudson to post up in a hotel for whatever. For however long, all of that stuff after her family members got killed. All of this stuff is contrary to what you're saying he is. Just because someone convinced you that regardless of what he does or how it looks, don't you get fooled, because it's all being motivated by evilness on the inside. Now, if you look at somebody as pure 100% evil, there's nothing else to say. Nothing they can do to convince you that it's not evil. They can give $1 billion to every human in America. And these folks have been convinced to think that he's only doing that because he's just trying to win over the black vote, and he's just trying to make up for all of his... That's what they would come to. Their conclusions are compromised. And he was saying in his video that they're cult-like. And so when you are in a cult, you believe things that aren't real. That's the crazy part about it. When they have convinced a lot of their voters that any conservative is evil, now all of a sudden, regardless of the raggedy evidence they throw out there to support that, or the lack of evidence, they will believe it based solely on the fact that, well, obviously, because these people are Republicans, they're conservative, they're evil. So when you come out and you say, hey man, I don't want kids being taught about transgenderism from grades kindergarten up to 9th or 12th grade. Well, obviously you guys are saying that because you're homophobic and transphobic, and you're trying to go ahead and get rid of all the kids and transgender, and you're going, no, that's not what it is. It's a rational thought that any human being should support. No, it's got to be coming from a source of bigotry and evilness. And that's why it's so hard to talk and have a good debate with a liberal, because see, we look at them as just maybe confused, ignorant, misguided, manipulated, but not evil. You're just a victim of evil people corrupting your thinking. They've gotten you into this cult to where you don't require evidence, you don't require rationale, you don't require none of that. All you require is them telling you, don't trust this person because they're evil. Why are they evil? Because I said they're evil. And even if they don't do evil things, trust me, it's evil. So that is why they were able to believe that Trump, even though on J6, there's absolutely no evidence of Trump saying, go over there, break into the Capitol, go over there, hang Mike Pence, choke out nasty Pelosi. No evidence whatsoever. But yet the Democrats and the fake news have put in such brainwashing that these people, regardless of any of that evidence, would say, obviously, Trump meant to go over there and do that, even though he never said it. Don't listen to what he says. You got to interpret what he really meant, because he's evil. So only his people, because they're all evil, they picked up on it was a dog whistle. That is how easily they have convinced many of our citizens to shut down any rationale, logic, or require any type of evidence. And so when you put together a grand jury like we just saw, you think those people want to look at evidence? You think first of all, these raggedy, evil prosecutors are going to pick people who are fair and balanced and rational? They're going to go out and get cult members, the most they can, to bring in to where they don't have to provide real evidence. They don't have to provide any type of logic. All they got to do is say, we don't need all that because look who I'm talking about. It's Trump. He don't have to be on record saying, go over there and do that. When he said, go over and let your voices peacefully be heard because he's so evil, that really meant, and then the people go, yep, he's guilty. That's why we have this big divide in our country. Their voters, many of them, are in the cult and have no idea. So they don't recognize the hypocrisy that's coming out of these people's mouths.
To try to take out a political rival. The end goal being 2020.
Donald Trump and his attorney general are using the Justice Department. The only difference between this and a banana republic is that Trump does not eat fruit.
The 2020 election is really the last chance we have to stop our system from fully sliding into a corrupt banana republic.
Bill Barr has done everything that Donald Trump has wanted him to do. Yeah, we're living in a banana republic right now.
When you start using the Justice Department to go after your enemies, that's very, very dangerous.
Donald Trump is using the Department of Justice to go after his enemies in any way that he can.
Having the head of the chief federal law enforcement agency essentially working on his behalf to investigate a political rival.
To investigate the family of a political opponent. Basically, banana republic behavior.
We're no better than some,
some banana republic. And is using the abuse of power and every element of the presidency to try to do something to smear me. We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power.
Small-minded.
We just have to make sure that he doesn't take power. The man over the Department of Justice right there making that confession. As we sit there and listen to that big montage of them identifying a banana republic and talking about all of that and stuff. Now, this is what I mean. And I really am. I got to give credit to Mr. Reagan. It was a wonderful revelation. Now, why is it then that you can have these obvious video clips of hypocrisy, of them doing the opposite of what they said at one point or whatever? Why is it that you can have that and show it to a sold out 100% liberal Democrat voter and they not recognize the evil in these people? Well, it's because their evil is overlooked. They justify and tolerate the evilness and the hypocrisy coming out of these people for the greater good. See, the party is above integrity. The party right here, even though they might sound hypocritical, even though it's different for what Trump, for Trump now than it was when he was in power. Because back then it was all about protecting the country from becoming a banana republic and stuff. But now it's about getting Trump. See, that's the difference. See, all of that stuff right back then was okay. We'll excuse the hypocrisy because they were referring to the evil Donald Trump. And now all of that same stuff that they were whining about that Biden is doing is okay with us because Biden is doing it to protect us from that evil Donald Trump. So they're less evil. They're less corrupt. They're just people who are doing some bad things periodically for a good cause. But if Trump did anything for a good cause, they would interpret it as evil regardless. And that is why so many of his speeches that were beautiful, you turn on MSNBC and they will translate that into every evil thing ever. They will not let the people in their cult hear it and interpret it as it is. Trump could get out there and say, I love all Americans and all Americans should have equal whatever, equal rights and all of that. And they'll say that right there is nothing more than a dog whistle. And he's really talking about white folks and the patriarchal system. And people could say, no, that's not what he said. Well, that's what he meant. It's Trump. He's evil. It can't be what he really said. We got to look for the other evil part. Unreal. So let's close with this.
In prosecution, this will likely all backfire. In fact, it already is backfiring. Americans are very smart people, and they see what's going on. This is a persecution disguised as a prosecution. I would dismiss it on its face because it fails to state a crime.
The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement. We can't let that happen. With all of this being said, and with a very dark cloud over our beloved country, I have no doubt, nevertheless, that we will make America great again.
Darn right! What was this?
Georgia, yes, we did nothing wrong. We don't ever take a sir. Yes, sir. We don't take plea deals.
We don't take plea deals.
Are you going to change this? The wise guy. We don't take plea deals because I did nothing wrong. It's called election interference. You know that?
Woohoo! That's a grown man. They trying to break him down. That's what this is all about. Dude, we'll get off your back if you just agree to tap out and not run. And Trump held it down like Leonidas, dang on it. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. All right. This is where we stand. This is where we fight. Take everything and give them nothing. That's what we do. Ain't no plea deals because then you're confessing. No plea deals because that's what they want you to do. They want you to go ahead and say, you know what, it'll be easier to go back, chill at Mar-a-Lago, let this mess go on and let the country go straight into hell. But instead, he's like, bring it on. And so am I. So am I. So we see what we're up against. We see the level of evil. We see all the evil tactics. That is why the dumpster juice Dems are at it again. They are completely dumpster juice. Now, and see, once again, I know there are some conservatives, liberals rather, and Democrat voters that have been watching my channel or have switched over. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm calling every single Democrat voter dumb or any of that, because I used to be a Democrat voter. I just understand how you can be on board with that party. But if you got a little rationale, you will start listening and you can get pulled out of it. See, and then you can laugh about how maybe uninformed you were or how easy it was for you to just go along with them and overlook the obvious. Okay. But if you've been watching my channel for a long time and you're still going, I don't care about that, now you're choosing. Now you're choosing to be dumb. You're choosing to remain in that cult when I'm showing nothing more than perfect examples. In my opinion, I think these are very good examples in the way that I illustrate it, the way that I give the information. You should be able to see a compare and contrast. You should be able to start making the connections and the dots. And at some point you will start to chuckle a little bit like, man, yeah, they did have me, because they had me too. So, I mean, I might throw out some sarcasm statements and all of that stuff, but trust me, it takes one to know one. Yeah, they had me too. So the key is not to remain there, especially when you're giving good information. And so I hope that you guys share this video, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, all them good places, subscribe to my alternative channel. Don't forget to do that. And if you want to support the channel financially, you can do that through my Cash App and my PayPal. I'm going to be doing another dump probably tonight. It's been real busy, but I'm trying to chop up some of these clips and just dump at least like 4 or 5 of them a day. I'm going to overwhelm YouTube with shorts from our live streams since they aren't sending out notifications anyway. So I'm just going to drop them like it's hot, drop it like it's hot. And then finally, don't forget, check out my text messaging chain by simply calling that number in the beginning that I gave. God dog it, I should have put it in the back. Wait a minute. Before we go, I got it pulled up. Yeah. Oh, maybe I don't. Oh, there it is. 330-974-4607. 330-974-4607 and text MAGA. And eventually I will respond and let you know you in Kev's corner. And then from time to time, you'll get some notifications just in case YouTube don't send them out. Now, with that being said, let's get out of here. Thank you. Somebody said another great show. Thank you so much. Man, I'm so hungry right now, man. I'm telling you, you spread butter on the kitchen sink, I might eat it. Yeah, that's how hungry I am right now. I got to get some nourishment. Feeling famished. Is it famine? Famished. Yes, famished. That's right. Spread butter on this table. It's getting eaten. God bless. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. Oh. Yeah, there's my bird. Yeah. Take care.